Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review for you guys, and the movie I'm reviewing today is Teeth. And boy, are you in for a wild ride if you've never seen or heard of this movie. This movie was released on January 19th, 2008. It was written and directed by Michael Lichtenstein. It stars Jess Wixler as Dawn O'Keefe, John Hensley as Brad, Josh Pius as Dr. Godfrey, and Hale Appleman as Toby. This movie had a budget of $2 million, and at the box office it made $2,340,110. And this is really kind of like the epitome of festival movies. So I think this actually premiered at Sundance. So the whole theatrical thing probably wasn't anything major. I'm assuming most of this movie they made their money back on like physical copies and like streaming and all of that stuff. So let's get into this movie, which is by far one of the weirdest movie premises I've ever heard of. So we're following this character, Dawn, and she is a teenager and she is a proponent of abstinence and waiting to have sex for marriage. And so like she's one of those hardcore people that doesn't even think that masturbation is any good. She like goes to schools and she wears a purity ring and she like really like promotes this. And basically she likes a guy and things start happening and she realizes that she kind of wants to have sex, but then she also doesn't. It's like this tug of war in her mind where she's like, I want to have sex, but I also don't, or I want to stay pure. And so she, since she's never had sex, she doesn't know really anything about her vagina. And so what happens is she finds out that she essentially has teeth in her vagina, which is a mythical. It's a pretty common myth in a lot of mythologies, and it's called vagina dentata, which is basically dentata is Latin for teeth, teeth in the vagina. And so basically, she finds this out because while they, I'm not gonna spoil it too much. I'll talk vaguely, but while she's doing stuff, somebody gets their penis bit off, essentially. And so, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. If that hasn't interested you, then I'm not sure what will. But let's talk about my likes and dislikes. So for likes, I think that this is a movie that has such a bizarre premise, but they bring up a lot of interesting social issues, and I think that that is good. So I mean, one of them is abstinence versus sex education. And I can tell you I'm from the Midwest. I went to public high school. I can tell you for a fact that I got a better sex ed in an elective class here at college than I did in high school. Like it was like, here's just the basics that you need to know. That's it. And when I was in college, I took a class called Human Sexuality and learned a whole lot more than I had ever learned when I was in high school. And that's like the prime time that you need to be learning that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, this is kind of trigger warning for people, but it brings up the kind of the ideas of consent versus rape, which is quite horrible and it's depicted in this movie. And I don't know, I don't want to get into too much of it, but it like makes me wonder if, and I don't know if it was specifically something that this was on this director's mind when he made this movie, but and I wonder if things would have been different if the people that she was around had like a good sex education and knew about the concepts of consent when it comes to sex and things like that, if it would have prevented what had happened to happen. So I really think that that's interesting. Also, this director is openly gay. according to the Wikipedia. But I think that that's interesting. I never would have expected a man in general to be making this movie, but I think he does a quite good job. I definitely would have expected something like this to be made by a woman. This is really a movie about Dawn's journey of empowerment as a woman. So I think that's a really interesting message that this movie has. And I mean, a lot of it is, and okay, so I will also give the warning that if you're watching it this long, or if you're watching this video this long, um, if you're a guy, you're probably going to be a little uncomfortable during this movie because there's some penis trauma, essentially. And so if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe don't watch this movie. But I would say that it is a great movie, and I would definitely recommend watching it. Now let's talk about what other people thought of this movie. It has a 2.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 80% for critics, 45% for audience. And it has a Metacritic score of 57 out of 100. So I would definitely be up there with critics, but I would even put it even higher as like at least B plus, A minus, A range. I think that this movie is great. I love the issues that it brings up, and it's super interesting. There are a lot of things that are uncomfortable about it, but I mean, that kind of goes with when you have parts that are getting destroyed, that could be uncomfortable. If you've seen Teeth, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this movie. And remember, if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Make sure to check out my channel for the entire month of October and all the new reviews that I'll be doing. And thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.